daily indoctrination. Well, it's not indoctrination. Your daily immunization against disinformation, misinformation, hyperbole, lies, and just utter nonsense coming from the likes of mainstream media and governments around the world. And there's plenty of it each and every day. Welcome back to the program, folks. The funeral service was today for John Tungay. This took place, at least the ceremony, in Howick in KZN. So once again, fair seas and following winds to my friend John Tungay, who passed away on March 22nd, just before his 89th birthday. Welcome back, everybody. That sun is brutal right now. It's hitting me right here, and of course, you know, taking doxycycline to fight the rosacea. It's rosacea, whatever it's called. Anyway, it makes the skin very susceptible to the sun, and so I've never liked the sun, but it's actually hitting me hard. So sorry about that. Welcome back. A few things happening today. Breaking news earlier. I published a video on this. The breaking news earlier is that France has uninvited South Africa's President Cyril Rampohosa from attending the G7 summit in Evian, France. That's right, Evian. That's where you get the water from. You know, that bottled water comes from Evian, France. He's been uninvited. The argument that Vincent Mangwenya, spokesman of the presidency for South Africa, claims that this is a consequence, ladies and gentlemen, of France being pressured by the United States. Oh, that may be true. I don't know the true story, but it begs credibility. It beggars imagination. The same France that has criticized President Trump for Iran, the same Emmanuel Macron who insults Trump all the time, the same French who do what they want to do whenever the United States does something and attacks the United States. No, South Africa is not part of the G7. They were never part of the G7. France extended an invitation last year to Rampohosa to attend the summit as a guest, which he had no business doing. South Africa's economy is not even in the top 30 in the world, let alone the top 20. South Africa's economy is ranked 39th in the world, and that's a generous placement for it. It's dropped to nothing, whereas we see that Poland has moved into the top 20. Yeah, amazing. For a country that suffered from communism, from decades of oppression, from two catastrophic wars, from being divided amongst the German and the Russian Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, reforming as a country, then having half its territory stripped off and given to the Soviets, who are now part of Belarus and Ukraine. Of course, the city of Lwów is a Polish city, not a Ukrainian city. But most people today don't know that because they don't know history. Yes, so what's really happening with France is Macron kowtowing to the United States. First off, I'd say that's highly unlikely. The French don't ever kowtow to the United States. Don't ever kowtow to the United States. They never do, ever do. So I strongly suspect that the ANC brand and the brand South Africa are toxic at the moment. People are finally opening their eyes and seeing what a shit show South Africa's become under the ANC. Well, that's what it was. I just was wondering what that was. I felt something fall. That didn't go very well. My poppy fell off. Put that back on. Push it down a little harder. There we go. Let's see if it stays this time. No, it's not going to stay. That's strange. All right, let's try it this way. Maybe if I do it this way. Oh, I doubt the ANC owes France. I mean, why would France give the ANC any money? Well, these don't work very well. It's supposed to bend and stay on. So that's a poppy I put on there. Yeah, no, I think that the ANC brand is becoming toxic, and I think it's been especially pronounced in the past few weeks when Fikile Mabalula has gone absolutely batshit crazy, posting garbage all over the internet. How's the sound coming through? The wind is picked up here. You know, yesterday it was annoying. The wind changed directions. The previous day I had to sit that direction, so the wind was in my back. Yesterday I had to sit this direction, so the wind is in my back. Today we had clouds earlier. Now the sun is out and it's blistering. It's not warm, but the sun is blistering, and I've got the wind coming right in my face. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Hey, what's going on, Arctic? Good to see you there. All right, so, yeah, so with all the nonsense coming out of the mouth of Fikile Mabalula, his insults to a sitting ambassador, calling him an unrepentant racist, with no justification, no evidence whatsoever. It's funny because Fikile Mabalula responded to the AfriForum press conference in a number of ways that were just patently silly. First off, he went to SABC and he did a screen capture when it was live and said, oh, look at this. It's an epic fail. Only 63 people are watching it. No, my friend. SABC is the epic fail. Nobody watches SABC. Oh, my goodness. Fikile Mabalula is so disconnected from reality that he thinks that the world is watching SABC. The guy is clueless. Absolutely clueless. The world is not watching SABC. The world is watching the AfriForum channel, AfriForum TV, Ronaldo Khos. Had I been on air, we would have had a big audience too. Nobody is watching SABC. Yeah. Yes. Well, Marius Mostart, maybe people should keep an eye on me and Fikile Mabalula. I've been the one that's been consistently exposing his lies, his rantings, his lunacy, putting proof up to refute it for the past several weeks. It's not a race thing. It's not a race thing. And that's where Mabalula is successful, framing this as a race thing. Yeah, so I've been pointing out this stuff, and that's why I've been getting attacked by a bunch of black supremacists on my YouTube channel recently. Yeah, he's a numbnut. Yep, he really is. The Iran war should put a spotlight on every country supporting Iran. Exactly, and that also may have played a role here. The brand ANC Luthuli House is toxic. Nobody wants to be associated with people who support terrorism. Not anybody in the right mind, but yet the ANC just doubles down. You know, Fikile Mabalula, in his response, talks about the following. He says, countries and movements referenced in today's failed briefing are themselves under sustained economic, political, and in some instances, military pressure, referring to Iran, largely driven by the foreign policy posture of the United States and its allies. These nations have consistently resisted external domination and have chosen independent paths grounded in their own sovereignty and historical realities. They will not bow to Western influence, and neither will we abandon our principal positions in pursuit of justice. Well, if you don't like Western influence, then I suggest that we simply remove all automobiles, all factory automation, all electricity, all medicines, all hospitals, all modern conveniences from South Africa. You have no need for it since you don't want Western influence. Let's just take it out. Let's just take it out. We don't need any of that stuff. So what an asshat. This guy is such a clown. And right there, he basically says that we support terrorists. Yep. And that's where he's at. They support the communist in Cuba, the oligarch totalitarian fascist in Moscow, the communist in China, and of course, the convicted felon in Brazil, not to mention the terrorist in Iran. That's who the ANC supports. This is a personal situation for Fikile Mabalula, but he tries to frame it as a sovereignty issue. It's comical. The guy he's at least 2 bricks short of a full load. Yep. He says, AfriForum solicitation of a foreign government to invoke the Magnitsky Act is a desperate admission of their failure to secure a conviction within our legal framework. Well, I would say that you might be right about that. It's difficult to secure a conviction in a non-existent legal framework when the National Prosecuting Authority refuses to prosecute a case which has prima facie evidence of corruption and bribery. Yep, that's what they have on you, Fikile, back in 2016. Yeah, I know it's not just Fikile. It's also Gwede Mantashe, Cyril Rampohosa, Vincent Mangwenya, Ronald Lamola, and of course, Paul Mashatile. They're all just, these people are. It's a cabal, and they have hoodwinked many black South Africans in voting for them. They've hoodwinked all the leftist hate-wanking whites into supporting them, but they're being exposed for who they are. People who don't. They stand up and act like a moral superpower. We are a moral superpower. How so? We support freedom and dignity and human rights and international law. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you support international law, you would have sanctioned and punished and imprisoned the people who sold combat helicopters to a sanctioned Libyan warlord in Benghazi. But you've done nothing about it. You haven't admitted it. If you were a country that was based in morals and human rights, you would not have invited a designated terror group, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, to participate in a naval exercise in Simonstown. You would not have let terrorists dock at your port at a naval base. When you let terrorists dock at your naval port, then you are admitting that you are in league with terrorists. And then you lie to the world telling us that you sent them home, but they participate in the exercise. But not to worry, South African Navy, not to worry, Luthuli House, not to worry, ANC, Ronald Lamola, and the chief of the defense force who owes fealty to the terrorist in Tehran. Not to worry. I guarantee you that those 3 ships that participated will never, ever again participate in a South African military exercise. More like a dingleberry. That's pretty good. Sean Bobby Sean 70 rand. Yes, those ships will never, never, never participate in another South African exercise. So I say raise up your glass, sing it loud and wavy for the ghost of the Iranian Navy. Well, the Magnitsky Act could have been invoked at any time. What I think that the recent actions, comments, and the absolute buffoonery of Fikile Mabalula is pushing someone in the White House to invoke the Magnitsky Act against Fikile Mabalula. Yep. Yeah. So, and depending on what happens with the MTN lawsuits, 5 of which are currently in the courts in the United States, depending on what happens with that, it's a very real possibility that the same thing will be invoked against Cyril Rampohosa and Nkabisi Jonas at some point. Yep, he is a joke. They already killed South Africa by destroying the economy and chasing the people and businesses out of South Africa. They'll bury themselves. Yep. Yep, they've been blown to smithereens. Absolutely gone. So, now here's what Fikile also had to say in his response. You know, it's like Peter du Toit. Peter du Toit and Fikile Mabalula do protest way too much. They protest way too much because they're guilty of what people accuse them of. And so they have to put out propaganda to refute it. So, the highly anticipated media briefing conducted by AfriForum the 25th of March, 2026 at 1000. Okay, let me ask all of you in the audience. Can I do a poll here? I don't know if I can do a poll. Let me see if I can do a poll here. No, it doesn't let me do a poll in the vote. So, let me ask all of you. Can you just give me a thumbs up or yes or no? How many of you on Monday or Tuesday knew that there was an AfriForum dossier presentation on Wednesday? How many knew about that? Now, some of you might know because Ronaldo posted, but I didn't know about it. And I'm pretty switched on what's going on in South Africa. So how many people knew that this briefing was going to take place in advance? Okay, a few people knew. Okay. Yeah, it looks like about 50-50 so far. Now we're getting more no's, nopes, yeah. All right, so it looks at about half the people in my audience didn't know about it. So about 150 people knew, 150 didn't, roughly, probably. Just looking at the numbers. Actually, now it's even more saying no. So let's say it's 60-40. But he says highly anticipated. Who was highly anticipated by? I didn't know about it. And he uses a screen capture of SABC. Nobody watches SABC, buddy. There were at least 2,000 people on the AfriForum YouTube. 1,900 Ronaldo's broadcast. That's 3,900. Plus it was on AfriForum TV. And who knows how many thousands watched it there. That's the live audience. The broadcast had 44,000 views within 19 hours. And then the portion just where Harry Nell spoke, talking about things, was repackaged as a separate video. That had 168,000 views. I kill for 168,000 views. Look at this, almost nobody's seen it. Yeah, so Fikile Mabalula is just a total clown. He, you know, that's a huge mistake to make such assumptions. But that's who Fikile is. He's not very smart. Not very smart. So he also says that AfriForum's interests remain confined to a minority race group that resists transformation and principles of equality. And I want to say this right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you resist the ANC's description of transformation, you are a hero. You are a supporter of human rights. You believe in equality and equal outcome, or equal opportunity for all, not equal outcomes. You are a real hero, a true hero, if you believe in opposing the ANC's transformation. Because the ANC's transformation is the destruction of South Africa. It's not transformation. There's no transformation taking place. The government's not directing transformation. They're stealing resources and giving to people who haven't earned them, and undermining the economy and driving South Africa back to the 13th century. The deindustrialization of South Africa is well underway. 21 smelters, only 2 left. One just shut down. Now we're down to one smelter left in the entire country. 4 refineries, 4 closed, 1 reopened. You have 1 refinery in South Africa. You can't produce the energy you consume. You can't ship the food that you produce. You can't ship the minerals. You can't put them in port, the worst performing port in the world. The transformation of South Africa is not redress. The transformation of South Africa is the destruction of South Africa. That is what the ANC has accomplished. All hail the ANC. ANC. Thank you for destroying South Africa, you idiots. Francois Ferrer with 40 Rand super sticker. Thank you for that. Yes, that's transformation. So anybody that resists transformation is a hero. Black, white, or brown. You're a hero. Yeah, that other smelter will be closing in a matter of weeks. So, and they said, and they resist the principles of equality. Well, that's just defamation. That is defamation. Yeah, you found it, but you didn't know in advance, Rena. Yeah. Yeah, ANC transformation equals revenge. That's what it equals. So, AfriForum doesn't oppose the principles of equality. That's a racist statement by a race-hustling Secretary General of the African National Congress, a political party which has betrayed the liberation struggle, a political party which has tripled the number of black South Africans living in abject poverty, a political party which has censored speech, a political party which undermines human rights, a political party that pretends that it cares about South Africans, when the only thing the ANC cares about are its caters and its wealth. That's all they care about. Cranberry, thank you for 70 Rand, and John Tully for the 40 Rand, and then Renee Tully for 140 Rand. Thank you guys for that. That is what the ANC cares about. That is what matters to them. That is a reality. This concept of a superpower, moral superpower, is absolutely bankrupt. There's no moral superpower. There's no morality in the ANC. If there were morality in the ANC, there would have been convictions for the arms deal. There would have been convictions for Travelgate, Oilgate, and Conduit. There would have been imprisonments for PPE scandals. There would have been removal of the vice president, of the secretary general from the ANC for their conduct. But instead, we cover these things up in South Africa. We paper them over. You have a convicted felon sitting on the Judicial Services Commission asking ass-hattery questions of judicial nominees. Thank you for 35 Rand super sticker. Yep. So Theo says I was retrenched twice at the foundries as an apprentice because you're white. Yeah, unemployed, too white for fair opportunity. Yeah, it's just nothing but blatant racism. It's worse than the National Party. The National Party was morally bankrupt in its apartheid policies that turned into racist policies. The intent was maybe well-intentioned at the beginning by separate development, but the implementation and instantiation of these laws led to racist outcomes. This is worse. That was a minority that impressively subjugated a majority. This is a majority oppressing minority. This is why you must have checks and balances in government. Carl, okay, what's your comment about? Anyway, so Fikile doth protest a bit too much, and his protest has no reliability. So back to what I was saying earlier, the 25th March. He says, the media briefing confirmed my consistent assessment the presentation was devoid of substantive merit, evidentiary value, or credibility. So how could you have assessed that when you didn't even know what it's about? He tried to preemptively get it shut down by using the law, perverting the law. When that didn't work, he said, well, I'm not going to do it because let's see what they got to say. Let them show their hand. They showed their hand. And it's a hand we all have. We all have the cards. Oh, you're North Dakota expats, man. Okay. Section 17 notice to retrench for operational reasons, meaning transformation is legal. Meaning racism is legal. That's what transformation is. Anybody that supports transformation in the guise that the ANC's produced it is supporting racism. Cyclones, 500, 140 Rand, thank you. You are supporting racism. That's what you support. You support the oppression of a people based on their skin color. You are morally repugnant and absolutely wrong. You are unequivocally wrong if you support racism. Yeah, it's called racial revenge. Yeah, devoid of substance, credibility, that is Fikile Mabalula looking in the mirror. So, Isaac Joubert, good to see you again this morning. I'm glad we're able to help sort out. Thank you for the 140 Rand super chat. I'm glad we're able to see the rainy navies in New Atlantis. Yes, it is. So raise up your glass and sing it loud and wavy for the ghost of the Iranian Navy. Now, I don't think you can vote yourselves out, and you need help from abroad. Starting, I might not be joining the French Foreign Legion is not such an easy thing. It is hatred. Yep, Colonel. When you have time, please see the message I sent you. Okay. We don't need them what's this? It's chaos everywhere. It's how just now ANC councilors in a meeting returned with knives and attacked and trashed the venue. Yeah, no, it's utter lawlessness because they've allowed it to happen. Heidi says, I think Fikile's expecting worse. He was probably slightly relieved. Yeah, no doubt. He probably thought it was going to be worse than what they said. But I'm here to tell you that Fikile Mabalula is very fortunate that a police case has not been filed against him in a local police station by Ambassador Brent Bozell. But Bozell is just going to ignore this. That's why Fikile gets away with it. But he committed criminal injury and character defamation by calling Ambassador Bozell an unrepentant racist with no evidence to support it whatsoever. Yep. Winds of Change. Yeah, that was a great video. Winds of Change. Yep, that reminds me I need to check on that. So anyway, yep. 390 people currently here, folks. I see 201 likes. I appreciate that. A little bit of super chat revenue has been coming in. Thank you for that. I think people gave all the money to Ronaldo. So there's not much left, but thank you for those who are sending it. Anyway, so Rampohosa has been uninvited. Oh, here's the news for you guys. Okay, who here likes Toblerone chocolate? Raise your hand. Raise up your hand. If you are a Toblerone chocolate fan, I am a massive Toblerone chocolate fan. Do you know that was created around the beginning of the 20th century? Yep. So if you're a Toblerone fan, let yourself be known proud here. So there we go. All right. Well, you never tried it. You're missing out. Toblerone will be removing the Matterhorn from its packaging and redesigning its logo with a generic mountain and a signature of its founder, Tobler. So why are they doing this? Because they're now going to be making some of the chocolate outside of Switzerland, and Swiss law prevents them from using the likenesses of Switzerland if it's not produced in Switzerland. So stay tuned for chocolate being produced in, I think, is it in Slovenia or somewhere like that, Anyway, in Eastern Europe, they're going to produce chocolate there, not just as, but they'll still continue to produce the chocolate in Bern, Switzerland, which is where Toblerone was founded, and they've upgraded the capacity to increase the amount of chocolate that they can produce. This will likely stir some sort of controversy for fans. I don't like the dark Toblerone. Ugh. Yeah, it's not marketing tactics, Dylan. No, it's the law, Swiss law. Swiss law will not allow them to put the image of the Matterhorn on their packaging if it's not produced in Switzerland. Yeah, so look for that coming out, okay? All the corruption stealing is coming out. I hope the world, well, I think that's what's happening in Vancouver. I think the world is watching. Ants Throats loaded an interview with Steve Hoffmeyer. Ants Throats got an interview with Steve Hoffmeyer. I have an interview with Steve. What the hell's going on there? Yeah, the man with the broken car got help. The car is off the street, and someone was going to take a look at it. I don't know the current status of it. What I was saying is that I found out about this broadcast on Tuesday. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Someone just said, what was that there? I guess that was it. I've never had Toblerone hot chocolate. Yeah, I think that the ANC now is the frog in the pot. The pot boils over. That's right, the pot boils over for the ANC. That's what's going on here, folks. The pot is boiling over. Absolutely. God bless it. Here comes freaking hurricane force winds all of a sudden. See many crickets? See my hair blowing around there? The wind has picked up to about 25 knots. It was nothing just a moment ago. Yeah, so the ANC is discovering what it's like to be the frog in the pot. Pressure's rising, no way to pretend you can stay or leave. Take your shot, because the pot boils over, kid or not. My song. The world is waking up to the South African government. I think that's what's actually happening. Arctic says that's not 25 knots, that's 5 knots. Dude, that's 25 knots. I got tree branches here swaying in the wind. That's 25 knots. Rampohosa now saying it should not be a surprise if they don't attend the upcoming as they're not a member. Yeah, well, that's what they're going to say. They were never there, but they should not have been invited. See, Macron inviting Rampohosa last year was a way to spit in the face of Trump. So I find it impossible to believe that suddenly the French are kowtowing to Washington when they've been spitting, Macron has been spitting in Trump and DC's face for years. Suddenly they're just going to, they're just going to, no, this is not Fintok. They're suddenly just going to kowtow to Washington over something as trivial as South Africa's president attending the G-7, which he's not a member of. No. They're just making stuff up, folks. Anyway, Toblerone is getting rid of the chocolate, the bar anyway, the mountain, the Matterhorn. Hopefully it won't be on all their packaging, so I'll be able to distinguish whether it's made in Switzerland or it's made abroad, because if it's made abroad, I won't buy it when I go through a duty free. I'll just buy the one that's made in Switzerland, because that is my second favorite chocolate. My favorite chocolate bar on the planet is a Ritter Sport Taubennuss, which is raisins and nuts. Oh, Taubennuss, fantastic stuff, man. I love that Toblerone. Not Toblerone, Ritter Sport. But I also like Toblerone. By the way, I used to live about 10 kilometers from the Ritter Sport factory in Baden-Württemberg. Yep, pretty good. Next we hear the boycott for the G7 summit. Yeah. Hey, Flesh, and what's going on in the UK? Anyway, now it's 5 knots, Arctic. Now the wind is blowing at 5 knots. Lint, ugh. Now I don't eat lint. Lint is horrible chocolate. Not my cup of tea. Oh, here we go. Picks up again. ANC worms are getting out of the firewood. It was. When I lived in Baden-Württemberg, it was literally at my doorstep. Unfortunately, they don't really have a museum there. All they have is like an art exhibition, which is kind of weird, but I went there and did the tour. It was boring as all snot. And then they sell the chocolate. They should put a museum up there. They didn't really catch on to the tourism thing yet. France saying, does it perhaps have anything to do with the investigation of the fall of Tito Mboweni? I don't know. It also might have something to do with the MTN cases that are coming to light. It probably has a lot more to do with the fact that the ANC brand is tainted. It's tainted. It's absolutely tainted. It's toxic. The only people who want to be associated with the ANC right now are those few people left supporting the party. The commissions of investigations are simply distractionary. They're meant to run the clock out. It's the Stalingrad defense, which is what Jacob Zuma has been using for years. You simply create a commission to distract people so they forget about it. Then when it comes out light later on, nothing happens. People get upset for a minute and they move on. So how many of you think about the Lady R incident every day? Probably nobody. Lady R is a clear violation of so many things that the ANC claims it's for. It is an absolute disaster. So the Lady R did clearly provide some sort of defense material to the Russians, a bogus commission which was formed illegally with people who weren't supposed to be part of it because they're not in the military. This whole thing was done, conducted, and then they washed it on the carpet. What about Pala Pala? How is anybody going to explain to me that the $580,000 in U.S. currency, do you know how many bills that is? Even if they're $1,000 bills, that's $580. That would be a stack like this just of $500 bills. You know, that's insane. Or $1,000 bills. It'd be $580, but it's going to be $5,801 bills. That fills up this table. If it's 20s, it's going to fill up the table to a height. But that money was smuggled into South Africa. No customs declaration, no taxes paid, no SARS production. Yet we see the crooked ANC-led parliament do a bogus investigation, which they didn't do. They probably sat around and decided what the decision was. And they said, no, President Rampohosa didn't violate and it didn't break any ethics or canons of parliament. Of course he broke the canons of parliament. Of course he broke the canons of parliament. And who is up in arms about that? I'm probably the only person that still talks about Pala Pala on almost a daily basis. How is the DA cater deployment, Fikile Mabalula? I don't understand that. Fikile Mabalula is the Secretary of Basic Education appointed by Cyril Rampohosa. How is that a cater deployment? Somebody explain that to me. Cater deployment is when you send unqualified people who are nothing but apparatchiks who are loyal to your party to a different part of the country to run the government. That's cater deployment. We get looked at weird if we're trying to bring things up. Well, I will bring them up and continue to bring them here that are Dutch like they're claiming. Well, we've already heard from the convicted felon Julius Malema that apparently rugby was invented by the Xhosa. Did you know that? Rugby was invented by the Xhosa. Yeah. And apparently Shwane was built by I guess by the Ndebele, and Nelspruit must have been built by the Zulu or the Swazi. And then, of course, Graf Reinet must have been built by, I don't know, the Mfungu or somebody. Who knows? Who knows who built that? And Cape Town, of course, was built by the Strandlopers. I mean, you know, there was a town there. I mean, Jan van Riebeeck just came and stole the town, hence the reason why he called it Kaapstad. No, these places were built by other people. The cat said he couriered couches to Paula more than once. Okay. Did you see an 11-story building? Yeah, I heard about that. So where does the problem lie? Is it with the ANC, the fools? It's with the fools who vote for them, Buster B. Yep, that sun is wicked. It's burning snot out of my ear. So I'm covering up my ear because the sun's so bright. There's no shade here for me to sit in. These picnic tables right in direct sunlight. There'll be shade when the leaves are on here, but that's not now. The tree is bare. Yep, they didn't have the wheel. They didn't have grindstones. Didn't have anything. I know they built nothing. Yeah, well, have you noticed? So you guys, I hope you're keeping score. Excuse me, paying attention. Julius Malema is barred from going to the UK. Now, Lady Pandor is under consideration for barment to the UK. You see what's happening here? You see what's happening here? It's begun. It's a slow roll, but it's begun. It has begun. If anybody can find material support between Lady Pandor and Hamas, she's going to go down for that. You watch and see. Some other country will go after her. Yep, people are getting tired of this nonsense. 400 people here right now. Awesome, thanks. The book of black inventions is still being empty. Well, let's not start picking on black people. There are plenty of black inventions. Many things have been developed by black people. The robot was developed by a black American. Mr. Cleveland developed the robot for traffic signals. He's the one that came up with it. George Washington Carver came up with agronomy techniques and selective what's the word I'm looking for? Production of different grains. George Washington Carver, an amazing guy. So let's not just throw the term blacks out there, but black South Africans haven't invented anything. Perhaps that's what you want to say. Yep. That might be what you want to say. That may be more accurate. Yeah, anyway. But Fikile is all up in arms about the AfriForum thing. I'm really sorry I missed the live broadcast, but I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. I was busy working at the War College yesterday at the time. But thank you very much. It's not invention, it's development. Well, call it what you want, Mark Myber, but no such thing existed. A tool was needed to control traffic flow, and he developed it. So call it whatever you want. So, I mean, by that, I guess you can't say that penicillin is an invention. It's just a development off of a mold. That was your scenario topic. Yes, Patriot, you're talking about Africa, but you're saying blacks, and people say you're just racist for saying that. So I'm just trying to be clear here, okay? I'm red in the face because I'm getting sunburned because of the skin condition I have caused by wearing those stupid masks during the COVID scam. Wife's divorce papers to English commissioner out of worth every cent. Okay. Did you hear the new law he wants to bring in? Yeah, okay. Guys, you need to slow down. There's no law. There's no bill proposed in Parliament. That's just some loudmouth bozo running his mouth making claims. There is no such law. So if that such bill is ever introduced, then we can start talking about it. Right now, it's just nonsense. It's hearsay. The laugh when they claim the Egyptians invented masks and they're technically black, some of the university. Yeah, the Egyptians are not black and we're not black. Yes, penicillin was a lucky shot. Indeed it was. But it launched an entire antibiotic. What is a war college? Oh, I guess you're new, Red. Militaries have senior schools for senior officers, and the schools are meant to teach operational and strategic warfare, and they're meant to talk these days about coalition warfare and also technology and diplomacy, national security strategy. All these things are all done. They do this for colonels, and so when I was a colonel, I was a lieutenant colonel when I attended. Lieutenant colonel, I attended the War College, graduated, and later was called back here to be an instructor and taught at the Army War College the last few years that I served in the Army. And so that's what they do. We also have other things that they're responsible for, like I participate in an event that trains general officers from the United States, all military services from around the world. Twice a year, they are brought together. They spend a week here. I do 3 weeks of work, a week of preparatory work, then another week of scenario writing and cleaning up scenarios, and then I do a week of preparatory work and then a week of execution, in which we do exercises and they get briefings from some of the most senior military people in our country and diplomats and things like that, and government people. So yeah, this is a 1 week course, but the War College is a 9-month course. And for the foreign students who don't speak English very well, they come here for a year. We at the War College in the resident course, there are 400 students per year. The non-resident course has 400 to 500, which not all finish it, so it winds up being about 350 graduates. And then the War College here winds up being usually close to all 400, and of that, usually 75 of them are foreign nationals. Yep. Yeah, Ben Carson, yeah. Well, he's a pediatric neurosurgeon for babies' heads. A question we have to ask ourselves: we don't have blacks in our society, what will we lose? Well, Buster, you're really on the edge there, so be careful. I was a lecturer here. I taught postgraduate students and was the thesis advisor for as many as 7 or 9 students in 1 year, which is insane. I'm not a lecturer here now. I'm a facilitator at an event. Well, Miranda, damage the liver. The doxycycline can damage the liver. The sun's not going to damage my liver, but what will damage my liver is the doxycycline. The sun will give melanoma. Oh, we execution. That's a lot of bodies. Ha 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 ha. Okay, Mark. Whatever you want to call it, it isn't the issue. All right. So, gosh, you're gonna hold me to that. What does facilitator do? I just explained it. I don't see if you hype my video, but when you tell me you've hyped my video, I'm very grateful for that. I would ask that people mostly hype my prepared videos because they need help getting higher numbers. Am I looking forward to the trip tomorrow? No, not yet, because I have yet to pack my bag. I've been so busy taking care of refugees. I mean, every time I think I'm going to catch a break, some refugee crisis comes up. Last night, we had some guy that was in the airport in Texas, and he said there was no one there to pick him up, and he doesn't have my number, or he can't call me, so he used Wi-Fi, and he sent his mother a note, and his mother sent a note to Hendo, and Hendo contacted me. And this is literally after I just finished doing a dozen things in less than an hour, and I was prepping to go on my broadcast. And so I had to start about 12 minutes late because I had to try to contact this case officer after I got the information. Of course, as usual, people don't send me the information I asked for. When you send me your sheet, if you're a refugee and you come to America and you want help with something, or you need help with something, please take a photograph of the page like this. Okay, the whole page. Make sure it's legible and not foggy or out of focus. Okay, send it to me when I ask for it, and don't say you never got that. Don't say you never got that, because every refugee gets it. I can't do anything. Then I was given a picture last night that was sideways and it was blurry. Then I was given another picture where it was just the number. I didn't have the name of the person. I need all the information. Exactly. Not all black people are the same. Can't dismiss entire race based on a couple stupid people. Yes. Thank you for that. That's my point. I don't tolerate racism and bigotry on my program. Some people are getting very dangerously close to it. Okay. Well, I don't know if people have PDFs when they're with their phone. They're trapped somewhere. Anyway. Now the tulips are in my studio at home. Mark says, thanks for the news. You're welcome, Mark. Thanks for the 70 Rand. I appreciate that. And for the conversation about what invention is. If we were selected for Job USA with experience we have in that field, how can we push the refugee thing to get the USA? You can't. You can't. The refugee program doesn't care whether you have a job. It doesn't care whether you have family here. It only cares whether you're a legitimate refugee and then you're put in the queue to get processed. That's it. There is no special favors. Nobody's more special. If Johann Rupert wants to come as a refugee, he is just as valuable as the next person. Whether you're 92 or 9 years old doesn't matter. Whether you're gay or straight doesn't matter, unless that's the basis for coming over, it would matter. But in this case, being your sexuality has nothing to do with it. It does not matter that you have a job. Denmark, very interesting election results. Immigration basically a settled issue here. It's right and left, now domestic left-wing issues. I don't think immigration is settled. You got way too many immigrants there. You got Bosnians who came there in 1992 who never integrated. Young man's father thanked you on Night Owls for helping his son. Yeah, as did his mother. So Corey, and the father's here and gave 140 Rand super chat at the beginning of the program today. Isaac Joubert. Well, Erica, just remove his comments. I can't do that. You can do it. I don't know why people think you can come on here and I guess you think because I'm white that I tolerate racism. No, nobody's better than anybody else. I grew up in horrible circumstances and I lived as a minority in all kinds of places, and I've been mistreated because I was a minority. I don't tolerate that. I don't tolerate it. You're no better than me because you're white or black or brown. I'm no better than you. Now, I may apply myself better than you. I may work harder than you. I may achieve more than you, but that doesn't make me better than you. It just makes me more effective as a human being. Yeah, Plettenberg Bay last night. Yes, someone sent me that information, Peter Andrew. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. No, that's unacceptable. That's the mindset of the ANC, of the EFF, of MK. They think that black people are better because they've been oppressed. That doesn't make black people better. And by the way, the people that are complaining about being oppressed haven't been oppressed. Apartheid ended 32 years ago. He keeps asking if you're immigrating. I told him he's not paying me enough. It is a refugee program. We'll find out sometime. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if it's in mainstream news, but someone sent me information on it. And I really can't do much with that because I'm on my mobile phone. So, sorry, there's a couple people back here talking. They distracted me. Only 288 likes, and the super chats have dried up. Because the world's becoming aware. No, I'm not really looking forward to my trip tomorrow. I don't know what's going on with the airport security and TSA. I think I'll be okay leaving here to go there. But I've also got to print out everything. I got to print out everything, for my reservation, my lodging, the addresses and everything. I got to put it all together for a file. What the hell is this? That's interesting. Cut that off. I got a mole there. Anyway, yeah. Please get us the story of what happened. Well, that won't be until tonight, if at the earliest. Thank you for saying that, because many people say their cases were expedited. I don't know, what did I say? People talk shit. Lots of people talk shit. Oh, I applied in January and I came in January. Bullshit. Yeah, prove it. Prove it. Show me a screenshot of when your thing was submitted. Yeah, I have people here that I know full well did a statement of interest last year, and then they come on and they claim, oh yeah, I just applied in January and I left in February. Bullshit. Yeah, too many people lie. Too many people lie. Yeah. Anyway, there's all kinds of problems here. So as the world is getting to know what's happening, I think that's what this thing in France does. And Vincent Mangwani is trying to front up and cover, and so is Cyril Rampohosa. Well, we're not really part of the G7. They were pressured by the U.S. I don't know about that. Yeah, exactly. If you're racist in South Africa, you're not going to do well in the United States. If you're a racist and a bigot in South Africa, you're not going to succeed here. It doesn't play. This fiction that America is systemic racism, full of racists, is exactly that, a fiction perpetrated by the media. Most people really don't give a flying flip. I just sat in the bowling alley getting something to eat before I came out to do this broadcast. There's a black full colonel sitting at the table across from me. There was a French Arab colonel who was in there. There were Hispanic ladies sitting next to me, a black female colonel, and there were white colonels in there. There were students from Turkey and from Norway and Australia and Chile in there. We don't play that stuff. We don't tolerate that. That bullshit is something the media creates, and a handful of people, black, white, perpetrate that nonsense. Most Americans don't care about that. They just care about has a fair opportunity. Racism is somebody's card, that's for sure. Yes, NASA's planning to build a base on the moon. That's not fake news. Slow puppy, that's true. They've been talking about it for years, but it was just announced in the press. $20 billion is being allocated to build that moon base to beat the Chinese to build. They want to be there with a base before the Chinese get it. $20 billion. The next step after Colonel is Brigadier General. Yeah, you're supposed to strive for success. That's why we're here. Big fish, the truth can never stay pushed down for long. Yep. Well, the truth can be pushed down, but some of us fight to reveal the truth, and we get attacked by hateful people. But that's to be expected. When you're taking flack, it just means you're over the target. It just means you're over the target. Well, I hope that Big Fish gets sorted out. Fourth time, wow, rescheduling. Why does it get rescheduled? That's why I tell people, man, you need to move heaven and earth. If they ask you to come in for a date, just go do it and get it done. How does one reach it after becoming a colonel? Well, becoming a general is political. It's very political. Very few people make general officer. Under 1%, well under 1% of officers become generals. We only have a few hundred generals in the Army, and we have 585,000 troops in the Army. Black people die, you lose mothers, fathers, children. Exactly. Yeah, don't let your anger let you lose your man. Exactly. Well, Mariki, I hope everything comes into light. I'm certainly trying to get everything to come out in the light. Yep. No, but Garrett, I think some of those are 88 flak guns that are firing at me. Your friend was shot in front of me and something. Sorry to hear that. When was he shot? Did he survive? Flugabwehrkanone. All three boys finished metric, and each of them find a job. So proud of them. Single, 15 years, raised alone. Yeah, it is. What do we call a pass? Colonel like yourself. Colonel? You just call it the title's Colonel. In life, in the real world, you are treated with respect with the highest title you ever earned. So, for instance, if you become a senator, then you're always called senator. But if you're later become an ambassador, that's higher. You're called ambassador. If you are a member of the cabinet, you're called secretary. So, and if you're a general in the military, and then you become a president, you're called president. So, yeah. So it's colonel. But when I use the title in a published way, I need to put the fact that I'm retired in there, so it shows that it doesn't represent the military. Even my 50-year-old son admires you and can't wait to meet you. Okay. Well, thank you, Nadine Bota. Okay. Yeah, the South Africans have more generals than the U.S. military does. Yeah, well, Big Fish, I understand. Yes, he is a professor. His arm is badly shattered. I don't know who we're talking about there. Yeah, the boss retired colonel in South African. Okay. I'm trying to see. It's 12:47. Okay, still got a little time here. Okay. Now, I appreciate you guys dressed by my rank. I mean, I get called colonel by my audience far more than I do by people I run into. I mean, people are pretty cheeky. There's 15-year-olds working, expediting and washing dishes in a veterans organization. address me by first name. I've never told them my name or to call me by name. They just address me. That's highly inappropriate. I didn't grow up in a world like that. You address your elders and people with rank by the way you're supposed to, not by calling them by the first name. What's this? Where did he have so much to say after Colonel? What are you talking about? Don't phone me. And these people keep giving out my phone numbers. Better quit doing it. I'm just ignoring a lot of calls now. People are calling me. If you don't send me a message, I'm not answering phone calls. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. Yes, I'm aware of what's going on in California. Big Fish said he's my biggest fan. Well, you know, Big Fish, lots of people say that. So I don't know who. I can't quantify that in any way. Very highly qualified. Most people say that everyone is a general. It is a sign of respect, Utopia, exactly. Oh, by the way, my friend who did the PRM email and flew to Pretoria last year to be part of the process for the pilot program, proof of concept, the 100 people that were interviewed last year and then was never called again until late February. I don't tell you to watch the portal, but he has gone to the portal after his interviews last week, and it says he's approved. Now, let me tell you why that probably happened, okay? Because they had his case all this time, and they had it in a sequence. For some reason, they weren't going to see him till later, maybe because he's in a better situation. I don't know. But whatever the case is, they probably did all the investigation, and when he came in, he answered the questions to see if it's truthful. It's just a pro forma formality because they'd already pretty much probably concluded his case. So less than a week later, he's already been approved to go as a refugee. So congratulations to my friend who remains unnamed and is a viewer of this program. He and his wife, congratulations to them. They have been approved for the program, and so they'll be coming U.S. Anyway, so that's pretty quick. All right, so 401 people here, 327 likes. We're not getting enough likes. Got to push that higher, folks. Anyway, oh, come on. So this is my last day of doing consulting for the War College this week. Then I have a week break, and then the next week I come back and I do 2 weeks, and it's time to move on for the elections, and then other events coming up and travel. Doctor stays a doctor, professor stays professor, minister stays minister, and you, sir, will always be a colonel to me. Thank you very much, Anthony. And that's exactly right. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, unless I get an elected office. So, but I'll be honest with you, if I'd won that race and became the state representative here in Pennsylvania for my district, I would prefer to be called colonel rather than representative. Yeah, it's just good manners, yeah. But not everybody has good manners. Not everybody has good manners. That's for darn sure. I think they're smoking. That's why they're standing over there. So I appreciate them standing way over there. Keep the cigarettes away from me. So the clouds are coming and going. But look behind me. Isn't that just gorgeous? Look at the sky. Look at all those clouds up there. It's just gorgeous. My brother-in-law only applied January, and they're almost on their way. We applied last year and still waiting. Does not make intake questionnaire. Well, I've got Loretta, you did the intake questionnaire, correct? So what do you mean those who did are moving faster? Nobody right now is being considered unless they've done an intake questionnaire. Nobody. Oh, is there birds circling in the background? I didn't see that. Cold front coming. Well, that's okay, Cranberry, because I won't be here. I'm flying to Vegas tomorrow. And I'll arrive late afternoon in Las Vegas tomorrow. So it could have a cold front come here. I'm going to be 2,200 miles away, 2,500 miles away. And Strawberry has friends flying next week. Well, guys, I have friends that fly every day to America as refugees. All the interviews done last year. Also, you never did the intake questionnaire. All right, Loretta. Loretta, send me your case number again, okay? And then tell me the circumstances. What interviews you had done? RSC? Did you have USCIS? You didn't get approval? Tell me what's going on there. I think I know what's going on in your case. We talked about it. But still, I mean, let me see if I can't try to look into it. Somebody's calling me from Texas right now. I don't know anybody in Texas except Lily Funded Plus. So that's just rude while I'm broadcasting. Just rude. You know, these people just call. You know, I'm not answering your calls. I'm not answering them. That's very disrespectful. And don't send me a voice note because my voicemail is a pain in the ass. I don't use it. Send me a text message or send me a WhatsApp. Clouds are beautiful. Yep. How's your hip? Well, I stepped off the sidewalk here earlier and missed a step, and it felt like I ripped my leg out. It hurt like hell, but it's fine after a minute or two. That's what I asked, if the wind was bothering people. Everybody said they could hear fine. So otherwise, I would have went back to the car and got the microphone, which has a little buffer over it so you don't pick up the wind. We're in Vegas 2012. You must treat yourself a nice meal. No, I don't go to circus shows there. Dems making gains is not what most people think is the far left faction that will come to establish Dems. Baba Chocolata, the Dems are not making gains. The Dems are gaining seats in state houses. So, for instance, they made a big deal about the victory of the lady in Florida, where Mar-a-Lago's at, West Palm Beach. That's the state district, and she is now going to replace a Republican in the state legislature. And with that addition of a Democrat in there, which their old Trump won by 11 points, it really doesn't matter, because rich, wealthy people tend to be leftist lunatics, a lot of them. And that's where that area is, incredibly wealthy. So with her inclusion into the Florida state legislature, that means that the number of Democrats, the percentage of Democrats in the Florida legislature will now be 28%. Less than 1/3 of the people in the Florida legislature are Democrats. That is not exactly a blue wave. So it's also not an indicator. It's a by-election in the South African vernacular, in which 18% of the voters show up. It's not a reflection of the true will of the voters. Whether a Democrat or Republican won, it would not be a true reflection of either side. So people getting carried away with this. Democrats are doing well. Hey, Veroska, botched flight mess when you have a moment. Okay. Yeah, I thought we already talked about this, Veroska. Didn't you get another flight, Nate? And then Debbie Fox showed up. There is 350 Rand. Thank you, Debbie. Congrats for the first late arrivals. You deserve it. Okay. You going to try the one-arm bandit? No, I don't gamble. I don't gamble, Crypto Noob. I might, for once, but I doubt it, buy a 50-50 ticket at the hockey game just to get a chance to win $50,000. But no, I don't gamble. The other money goes to a charity. Welcome, thank you there, Thor Fondamech, for becoming a Master and Commander. That's awesome. Thank you for that level of support. Did you ever have aspiration to go beyond Colonel? No. When I was a private, I went to the Education Center Bad Kreuznach, Germany, and it asked the question, what is your career goal? I wrote down Colonel, C-O-L, put a dot. I want to make Colonel. I thought that was a rank that was impressive and had lots of authority and responsibility, and that was hope beyond hope. I was in private first class at the time, not even an officer. So when I came back in the Army, I wanted to come back and to be a foreign area officer, knowing at the time that making Lieutenant Colonel was a very, very difficult thing to do, and making Colonel was virtually impossible in that career field. I was in intelligence, where making Colonel would have been much easier, much more likely, far more colonels, and making General could have been a possibility. Had I stayed in intelligence, I probably would have been a 1 or 2 star general. Now, maybe not, but that's just the reality. I probably would have been a 1 or 2 star general had I stayed in intelligence career field. I was that good at intelligence. And you can see it with my analysis all the time. I'm that good. So, and I'm very good at leading people too. I know that's my own opinion, but many others have said it. You always have detractors that will say something different. But anyway, so when I made the decision, the conscious decision to become a foreign air officer, I knew that it would be very difficult to make Lieutenant Colonel. I would never make Colonel. Not only did I make Lieutenant Colonel, but I made full Colonel too. Of an army of 585,000 soldiers, there are exactly 18 colonels in the U.S. Army who do what I do. That's it, 18. So making it is very difficult. All right, ambassador can only use the once you have. Nope, that's nope. That may be Vienna Convention, but that's not American. That's not Brits. Nope. They're still called ambassador. We're called ambassador for life. Yep. Yeah, if you're a medical professional, you've got to be qualified at your state certified boards, whatever that is. Yep. Peter finished with USCIS under review. Well, Peter sent me the same thing that I asked Loretta to send, okay? Yeah, never assume. I think there was fire trucks. They grabbed a few files from the bottom. My case is suddenly picking up serious speed. Ever consider going to politics? Yeah, I ran for the state legislature, Loretta, and I spent $22,000 of my own money, my life savings. I wasted it. So what's that? $10,000 would be 180,000 Rand. So I spent about 400,000 Rand out of my pocket, my life savings, to become a member of the state legislature. It was a waste of my time. I'm not impressed by the politics. Why did you decide to retire from the Army when you did? Because I had no choice. As an officer, you can only serve 30 years. And if you don't make full colonel, you have to get out at 22, or to 26. Yeah. But as a colonel, you can go to 30. And if you get approved as a general, you can go longer than that. So you can't stay any longer than 30 years as a commissioned officer. So I spent 36 years, but those enlisted years didn't count against my officer time. That's why I was able to spend 36 years in the Army. Because I was originally enlisted. Oh, here comes the wind. Okay, so. My son and I had our U.S. interview the same day. Case of link. He got approved a month ago. I haven't heard. Bitter ender, that's how it goes. You know, it's that. Yes, it's normal. How many times do I answer this question? Over and over again. It is normal. There is no normal. There is no path. There is no average time. There is no this is how it is. There isn't this. It doesn't exist. Especially in a case. They're building a plane in flight. This plane is taking off with one wing. It's hanging over like this. They're constructing the second wing now. I don't know how hard it is to get that across, people. Well, you're not telling me anything there useful, Isak. You're telling me you finished all the interviews. What interviews? Where did you do them? You need to send me something. I can't do anything with that information. I mean, if I go contact someone in the government and say they've done all their interviews, what interviews? Who interviewed them? When? Where? UCIS interviewed them? Was it just RSC? Was it the Amerikaners? You know, I need to know that stuff. Believe nothing you hear and half what you see. Okay. Vegas isn't always as warm as you think it is. Just applied to myself. Okay. All right, so that's going to do it, folks. I've got to get back to work. I'll catch you later. It's not cold. It's nice, but it's windy. It's kind of annoying. All right, thanks for the super chats. I was hoping to get a few more. We didn't get to the 400 likes. That's kind of a disappointment. Have you ever thought as an intel media to Brent? Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. All right, guys. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Hit the like button if you don't mind, and we'll see you later.